Persona 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, so you could probably guess how excited I was when a remake was announced.
Oh, sick.
I've spent countless hours of my youth running around the fictional nation of Japan, and I'm really looking forward to experiencing that wonder again. The news of the remake made me reflect, however. Not everyone has had the chance to play this amazing game, and maybe you just don't have the money to buy the ports of Persona 3 Portable that were recently released for the Sega Dreamcast and the Atari Jaguar. So I decided to make a video that neatly explains how you can beat and experience Persona 3 without even playing it. This does not involve watching a Let's Play on YouTube, as that technically is not you beating it, you're just watching someone else play through the game. With my guide, you're going to get the full Persona 3 experience, and don't worry, this video will contain no spoilers about the plot of Persona 3, so don't you worry about that. With that out of the way, my name is Ash, and let's dive right in. So, right off the bat, the protagonist of Persona 3 is named Makoto Yuki or Minato Arisato, depending on who you ask. If you're a girl, the female protagonist is named Kotone Shiomi, and the point is, you're gonna have to change your name to one of these. If you're non-binary, then just combine their names, like Katomi, or Makone, or Mario. The price of changing your name ranges from $65 to $300 here in New York, so it's best to go for the cheaper option and get that done right away. You can also choose to dress as the protagonist, but to be honest, that's optional, cause it might be a little more expensive, as hair dye can be pricey in addition to the headphones that are worn by the protagonists. I used Google Scholar to conduct some research, and I found a Tumblr post that said that Iwa Todai, the setting of Persona 3, is actually based on Kobe, Japan. A one-way ticket from New York to Kobe is only $900, but this is assuming that you already have a passport. If you don't have one, then just make one. I mean, the TSA is famous for being kind and understanding. Just cram a couple of clothes into a suitcase and you'll be fine. During the flight, be sure to watch The Whale 2022 on repeat. It doesn't have anything to do with Persona 3, but the trauma that the protagonist endures is going to be very similar to your own journey. And finally, after a 20-hour flight, you're finally in Kobe and ready to begin your Persona 3 playthrough. Wait, hold on a second, I forgot, you're homeless now. But since this is a Persona 3 guide instead of a Yakuza 7 guide, we're gonna need to handle that right away. The protagonist of Persona 3 begins the game by moving into a dormitory that's inhabited by fellow teenagers. Now look, I'm gonna be honest, I'm trying to make this guide accessible for everyone, regardless of age, background, or financial status. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to make sure this guide is as cost effective as possible. I found one apartment here in Rokosancho that costs 220 million yen, which is only $1,530,126. You might be asking, hey, why am I buying an entire building? But remember that you're going to be housing your fellow like-minded youth, so this price is a steal. Speaking of stealing, you're going to need some companions to inhabit your apartment alongside you. Let's go down this list in order, starting off with our main man, Junpei. He's a big fan of baseball, so your replacement of him needs to be someone in the area that happens to be proficient. I looked up Kobe, Japan baseball team on Google and found a team known as the Oryx Buffaloes. No one here is named Junpei, but there's a guy here named Jacob, so he's gonna have to do. His contract is apparently $563,500 for a one-year agreement with the Buffaloes, but we don't have the time to wait for his contract to expire, so just prepare $600,000 to buy him out. You're only gonna need him for a year, trust me. Next up is Yukari. Now for her, you're just gonna need to come across a brunette that has repressed father issues and it causes her to blow up on her friends. All you really need to do here is join a Smash Brothers Discord and just wait a little bit, or just look around on Twitter, you'll find someone immediately. Mitsuru is gonna be a bit tough to come across, being the daughter of a billionaire. It just so happens, however, that Bill Gates has a daughter named Jennifer Gates, who has gone on record saying that, quote, "I was born into a huge situation of privilege," unquote. Well, Miss Gates, I think it's time for you to join us. There's nothing more humbling than having to fight demons alongside people who may or may not hate you. Akihiko is close with Mitsuru and also an adept fighter. As such, we're gonna need to dig a little deeper to find our Akihiko replacement. On the Shin Megami Tensei wiki, it is stated that Akihiko's appearance in Persona 4 Arena was going to be modeled after Jason Statham. He was redesigned later, but that gives us a great candidate for our adventure. Jason has a net worth of over $90 million, but I'm sure you could win him over with just $3,000 to $15,000, which is the price of a hair transplant. Either that or just get a gray wig and call it a day for Jason. I mean, he's an actor, he can roll with the punches. Fuka is an interesting case because apparently no one knows who the hell voiced her in the original Persona 3. In terms of the remake, her voice actress is Suzu Young, who is also the voice for Makima. That makes things a lot easier for us, as Makima herself is supposed to be a mother figure for Denji. What I'm getting at is that you should ask your mom to be Fuka. It'll be fine, and if not, just ask someone else's mom, maybe Jason's or Jennifer's. Aigis is a bit tricky as she's a robot, so you can go down one of two routes. Hire someone to act robotic in nature, get them a blonde wig, all that junk, or you can go down the fun route. Robotlab.com offers humanoid robots for $960,000, and they even come with a carrying case so you can shove your Switch in there. She's gonna come with a 1-year warranty, which is gonna be more than enough given what happens in Persona 3. For legal reasons, my lawyer is telling me not to provide guides on how to get a replacement for Ken. Koromaru is simple enough, being a Shiba Inu, which are native to Japan. You can find them growing on trees or bushes next to your apartment. Finally is Shinji. He's a bit disheveled and rough around the edges, so just hang around a 7-Eleven at night and you might find a few people who fit the bill to a T. You can also use the same 7-Eleven to buy a beanie and trench coat for him as well. And with all of that out of the way, you finally have your party. Now what? Well, you enroll in school. You can enroll in any school of your choosing for free as long as you don't get caught. If you want to go the legal way, you can just go to Kobe University and just figure it out from there. The authentic Persona 3 experience would be for you to enroll in a high school, but I don't know the legality of me telling my audience of various ages to enroll in a high school, so I'm going to avoid that subject. Now just wait a minute, I hear you cry. What about the Persona part? If you're unfamiliar, the Shin Megami Tensei games have you use demons to fight demons and to help negotiate with demons in order to fuse demons and get better demons. The Persona games reclassify demons as personas, but this guide will still help you regardless. You're gonna need an internet connection and access to 4chan, specifically the X board, and you're gonna need to read up any and all guides that involve summoning demons and or tulpas. My tulpa of David Lynch is standing alongside me and helping me record this video. The other part of the persona summoning process comes from evokers, which are meant to draw out the persona dwelling in one's psyche. I saw an airsoft gun available on Airsoft Shop for $194.95, so just buy 9 of them and your gang are ready to roll. Oh, I almost forgot. Make sure to do the tulpa summoning ritual for everyone in your party except for Aigis. For her, just download some files you find on the Onion site and just upload them to her and see what happens. After spending all that time preparing, what exactly do you do now? Just live. Live your days balancing school and making new acquaintances. Join a club or two, take up running, and hang out with your friends after school. The true essence of Persona 3 is just focusing on your day-to-day lives, trying to make the most of it and just making bonds with people you care about and living your life to the fullest. You guys have a large apartment now, but make it a home. Liven it up, have some nice music playing, spend time in the foyer instead of hiding in your rooms. Your time on this planet is limited, but make the most of every waking moment every day. Reach out to people you otherwise would never have. Help anyone in need if you're able to. Don't forget that you will oh god damn it, I forgot about Tartarus. Look, in Persona 3, there's this dungeon called Tartarus, and it's roughly 264 floors and got all sorts of shadows running around. Like I mentioned earlier, shadows are the Persona equivalent of demons, which inhabit the Shin Megami Tensei games, so you're gonna need to hire some goons to either dress up as shadows or summon tulpas to inhabit the walls. In order to make our own Tartarus, let's look at some of the biggest buildings available right now. The current largest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, has 163 floors. Judging by this Wikipedia list, the Wuhan Greenland Center has 101 floors. So if we were to stack the two on top of one another, you would get 264 floors. Of course, let's be real, it's kind of expensive to transport these buildings from their home countries to Japan, so I think the easier option is just to start from scratch. The Wuhan Greenland Center building cost $4.5 billion to make, while the Burj Khalifa was $1.5 billion. So just borrow some of Mrs. Gates' money to establish Tartarus and Kobe and you'll be good to go. Like I mentioned before, don't forget you're going to need to hire a couple thousand people to summon demons and tulpas across the floors in order to pose some sort of challenge to you while you traverse it. Oh, and you can only explore it in the evenings. And sometimes you get sick too, which not only inhibits how you perform in your day-to-day, but also hinders you while you explore Tartarus. If you're ever feeling exhausted, just make sure to use the bathroom and you're going to be right as rain. There's a few things I forgot to bring up at this point, and one of them is SEAS, or the Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad. This is a task force that's led by Shuji Ikutsuki in Persona 3 to get rid of shadows on every full moon and just in general. You can easily form this organization on your own, and instead of Ikutsuki, consult a local cult leader and to see if they'll manage it for you. Actually, consult too, as you're gonna need someone that resembles Jesus Christ. As for the full moon shadows, just make sure to instruct multiple of your new hires to work together and form one large tulpa in a location outside of Tartarus, like, a train car for example. They might be tough, but you have your own persona, so don't worry about it. Another thing I need to bring up is Igor and the Velvet Room. Igor is this weird freak that hangs out in an elevator and fuses your persona together to make stronger persona. As of recording, the closest man alive currently that captures the essence of Igor is David Lynch. You won't even have to pay him anything. If you tell him what you're doing, he'd be more than willing to accommodate you. I've seen Twin Peaks and Fire Walk with Me and Blue Velvet and so many other of his works, so there's no doubt in my mind that David Lynch has seen enough things throughout his life that makes your proposal seem normal. Instead of Elizabeth, you can just ask David Lynch's daughter to hang out with you guys. One of the big aspects of the later Persona titles are social links and confidants. These are random people that you come across that help strengthen your persona, with the different people aligning with a tarot card from the major arcana. You gotta build bonds with them, as nothing is guaranteed in this world, but if you want a Persona 3 experience, then there's some specific people you want to be on the lookout for. Be sure to set your sights on Persona staples, such as unattended children, and also people dying of illness. Bond with your classmates too, you'll find a lot of social links that way. Instead of trying to comprehend the tarot system, go on Etsy and see if you can hire someone. I found one service that's $69 an hour, and Persona 3 has 22 social links, with each having 10 levels, which results in 220 scenes. If we have one session per scene, that'll come to $15,180, but trust me, you're gonna get some really strong personas out of this. And with that, I think that covers about everything that you need in order to fully live out Persona 3. The grand total of expenses, assuming that you could get a deal on that hair surgery for Akihiko, and also get your name changed for cheap, is $6,3,111,225.55. Mind you, this amount doesn't take into account optional factors like clothing, transportation, food, etc. So take the $6 billion price tag as the bottom line. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Persona 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I genuinely hope that this guide gives people the chance to experience this game the way it was meant to be played. I hope you guys enjoyed my guide, and let me know if you follow it or if there's any other games you'd like me to make a guide for, because I'm more than willing to. Going to shout out my patrons: Fresh Burrick, Big Boot Goddamn, Polaroid Jack, Sour Lolita, Borpulus Vunny, Real Century, Loose, Vento, Sea Crowns, Kiwi Kiwi, V, Andrew, Praise Star, Silgon, Amatiramisu, Logan, Sianaru, and Jiva. I love you all, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will catch you next time. peace and love on planet Earth.